president.
Oh, don't give up, man. Don't give up. You can still do
I
it.
gave up my hopes. I had to give up my hopes of being an astronaut. So, yeah, we're even.
Well, I guess it's good to be back. But last time we had the show, we had a guest today, and then I told him to come on Thursday. So we're having Jacqueline Baker on Thursday because we missed the one show because we were at Jack Taylor. But we were right. Nick Walker won.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Convincingly.
we're three geniuses.
And how about this though? But how funny is it that everybody else was like, talking all that smack, and he was just like, it's fine. Like, it just kind of goes to show the mentality that you can have, how quickly people want to blow something up and just make something out of nothing.
You have to have an incredible, John will tell you this, because, this is great. Oh, wait.
Frank,
did you see that flip I did? That's the only flip I'll physically ever be able to do. But you know what? John will tell you, you have to develop incredibly thick skin to deal, and emotional scar tissue to deal with this, with what people say about you, and it's insane. So no matter what, he could have looked phenomenal at guest posing in Pittsburgh, and they would have ripped him apart.
All right. Well, James came in and he said convincingly Martin was close 1-point decision. Okay, I read. That's the thing. I read multiple things, and this being a subjective, activity, you're gonna get that. But I don't know. I guess I just never felt at any point that it was going to go another direction.
Me neither. And Martin looked great. There's no question about that. It was definitely close, but it wasn't close enough. I mean, it was not that. If you put when you put the two of them together, first of all, they're not really comparable physiques. They're very different physiques. So you can't say, well, is this line or that line. They're two different physiques, and if you like the big muscled physique, that's what we pay to see. So that's what Nick brought. So I can't see how anybody could have seen it any differently.
I mean, John, we got to be honest here. I mean, I'm looking at these pictures and everything, and growing up with the Night of Champions and everybody else, I mean, the level of conditioning has dropped substantially from like I don't even want to from every bodybuilder. Like,
no, everyone agrees.
It's crazy how it's dropped. Like, I know people were putting pictures up of rest in peace Andres Munza, but Kevin Levrone in the 1992 Night of Champions. I mean, come on.
Dorian Yates. How about Dorian freaking Rich Gaspari, Dorian Yates, Nasser was shredded.
Crazy.
I mean, all of those guys, the top row from the 90s and into the early 2000s were always super, super conditioned. And you are absolutely right, Frankie. That level of condition is gone.
I don't want to be that old man, Zach, shaking his fist at people.
No, I don't think you are.
But it's true, man. I mean, get off my lawn. Get that. Now the ball is mine, Zach. You can't have it. It's over my fence. You're not getting it back.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, okay. But when did this happen? That's what I'm curious about, right? Because I feel like, as you said, a lot of folks. Reign. Okay.
When did it happen?
I think Phil Heath's reign was somewhere in that dynasty. We lost the level of condition that we were really hoping to get back. And it seemed like it was tenuous during his reign, and that like we would get it back and then no, and then yes, and then no. And then now it seems like absolutely not.
But it's the same thing too with classic physique. Like, I watch Instagram and everybody's shredded, but in person, backstage, nobody's ridiculously shredded. I gotta be like one of the most, like, I've seen, I don't know, thousands of bodybuilding shows and been up close and personal, like, seeing like in the gym and everything else of people, like, so. But Johnny Moya, who's I think it was 5th or 6th the Night of Champions one year, nationals, that guy was shredded. Like that's one person always stood out to me. That guy was eating ice cream at Bev's front desk counter, and that guy had a level of shreddedness that I've never seen before on a human being. Like when I competed, like you had Nassar, Dorian Yates, Kevin Levrone, Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier. Paul, I was like, okay, I'm done. you know, you know,
Makes you
hands
want to
up.
go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just don't see that level anymore. I mean, there's some guys, there was, I mean, I don't know. I don't
I,
see that
I blame I,
graininess.
I I blame the diuretics. That is my position and always has been, because look at what's concomitantly with the drop in condition, we have
Yeah.
increased dramatically the amount of diuretics these guys use, some of whom start 30 days out. How can you determine if you're
Wow.
going to need a diuretic a month away from the contest? I mean, that's absolute insanity. But and the
How quick,
and the
how close
reason,
to the show? How close to the show would you suggest, or would you recommend, or have you seen
none,
people do? None,
none,
zero, zero.
zero.
Okay, I don't know. I
There's
don't know.
no reason for them.
All
There
right,
is no reason for
What
them except lack
John's
of
right.
work.
I didn't know. So
John's
I,
right.
so
Like when I did my last show, I took Diazide. Right? Now Diazide I started on Thursday taking Diazide, then Friday, then Saturday morning was the show. Now, in Canada, when you're on the line, there was a bathroom right there. I was going to the bathroom right before I even got on. My hand was a claw, and I was like, Jesus, man, I was a mess. And that's when my abs started popping out individually after prejudging. It was horrible. When
ugh,
I ate and came back, I looked so much better, and I was like, why did I even do that? That was like one of
Yep.
my biggest regrets. And like that was Diazide back in the day, but people doing Lasix and
Hmm.
and Aldactone and all different things was I mean I've seen horror emergency room.
Yep.
Most of the issues with
jeez.
bodybuilders shows passing out and stuff is a lack of electrolytes and such, Zach, from the diuretics, but extreme cases.
Yep.
So in the comments, there's a couple questions that I think would be good for discussion here. One is that somebody asked if Hottie would be considered like has old school conditioning, and Dave Thomas, which I know I've heard that
From
name before.
Wendy's?
Oh,
From
that's it. That was
Wendy's.
it. Yes, I'm sure he's never heard that one before. Sorry, Dave Thomas, but he says he's not seeing any improvements with Nick. He looks like he's maxed out, whereas Martin looks like he's making steady improvements. Not sure what happened to Quentin with all the hype coming in. So there's two things that might be add to this conversation. Would you consider Hottie that old school conditioned guy, and do you think he's got a point about people making strides on Nick where he's kind of inching forward, other people are maybe leaping forward?
People change from show to show. Uh, Whether it's good or bad, the degree of separation between first and fifth is very, very little, as we had Steve Weinberger on here saying. We saw Hottie coming better at the Arnold than he did at the Olympia, right? And we said, okay, he had that old school type of look to him, and the legs especially, they were feathered. He had the striations going. Uh, but now people are saying Derek Lunsford, like he's never ever gonna get better. But I guarantee you, Derek Lunsford's winning the Olympia because listen, Derek Lunsford has better shape than Hottie. His back, his legs, he does, and he can actually get bigger than what he is. He has that frame. Hottie's maxed out on his frame. Nick has, like Steve said, he's got to get better shape, and and his structure's not that of a flex wheeler. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes they're trying to play the size game too because they can't. If Nick came in shredded and Derek Lunsford came in shredded, who's winning? Lunsford. Lunsford's got much better shape, a better back, and everything else.
I'm gonna disagree with that.
Oh,
I
no
I,
way.
I I don't think Lunsford. I think Lunsford is missing a chest. So until he fixes that, I'm not going to give him the nod. He's great from the back. He's indestructible from the back, but from the front, he just doesn't do it. Now
That's three
with
three poses though. You got from the back, you got the obviously his lat spread, his back double bicep. He turns around and gets another lat spread. Lat spread, that's three poses where he'll beat Nick. And
Yeah,
then,
I mean,
and even a double bicep shot where his chest is just pulled up. That's 4 shots in
I
mandatories.
I don't know about the front lat spread. Look, here's Nick's issue from my perspective. Nick is massive. The amount
Yes.
of muscle he has on his frame is just unbelievable. And you have to see him in person to understand that. The problem with having that much muscle is you have that much muscle everywhere,
Hmm.
including your obliques and your abs and all that. So what Nick's he can control it. You can see him controlling his midsection
Yes.
during the
Yep.
poses, but when he's off and relaxed, he relaxes. He gets that wide look. So he's going to have to tame that. If he can
Hmm.
tame that, the illusion is going to be better because he's going to have a thinner, waist. His lat spread, his leg, his X, and his quads are all going to be enhanced if his waist gets smaller, which he can do because he does it during the poses. So he's just got to do it all the time. And if he can, it's
Yeah.
very difficult, but he
Yeah.
can
It's
do
a,
it.
true. Yeah. I mean, look, you don't know until the day of the show, but the X factor here to me is Hani Rambod, who has Chris Bumstead, Hottie, Phil, and everything. He knows how to get people dialed in, so you know that Derek will be ready for the contest. So, and he's made some major improvements already, I think. So, we'll see, but that's what makes everybody go. And this is the 60th anniversary of Olympia, so
Yep,
it should be
it's going to
interesting.
be a
But
big
if
one.
honestly, if Big Ramy came back the way he looked in his last Olympia, he would win. So where's
That's a
he?
great question. Is he coming back?
I don't know. He didn't go to Pittsburgh, so I would guess not. But
Was that a
could
visa
John? What do
issue?
you? Could he beat
I mean, you
if
could always say that.
the Big Ramy back in the like his last Olympia win? Would he win the 2024 Olympia?
I think you would because the
Yeah, me
guy
too.
is that massive. I mean, this
Yeah.
is bodybuilding, to quote Ronnie Coleman. So you got to have the mass, and you have to have the condition, and you have to have the shape. So those three
Yes.
things in conjunction, it's almost impossible to get all three of them in one guy. But when they do, the result is spectacular. So the interesting thing is, if Big Ramy comes back, and you
Hmm.
got Brandon Curry, and you got Hottie, and you got Derek, you got 4 Mr. Olympias competing in the
Yeah,
open with the
that's awesome.
potential of a fifth one, depending on what Nick does. So, I mean, I think the yearning for the '90s lineup is pretty much quelled right now. We have a great lineup now. The guys look great.
Cool.
I'm not a fan of the condition. I'm agreeing with you, Nick Frankie. The conditioning is not where it used to be. I'm saying it's because of the ubiquitous use of diuretics. It just pops the balloon. You just let the water out of the muscle and you look deflated.
Which,
And if they can fix that, then we're really going to have an unbelievable top row of guys at the
for
Olympia.
sure. Well, you got
All right.
Samson and you got Andrew Jack as well.
Okay, cool. That's what James
Also,
just said here. James just said he asked about Samson if he comes in with like that old school conditioning. Will he beat Derek? He thinks he's just got to
Possibly.
come in hard and he can do it. He does. He believes in that he can.
Possibly Samson's really good. And so's Andrew Jack too. I mean,
yep.
everybody's a threat. Look, did anyone think that Derek Lunsford was gonna be Mr. Olympia after he won it? No. I mean, you never know. And like, look, Nick could come on stage looking incredible at the Olympia. You never know. But I have my gut tells me my gut get it. My gut tells me that Derek Lunsford is my gut tells me that Derek Lunsford's gonna win is going to win, but who knows? Like, you never know. That's the thing. You can
I
make all
don't
these predictions.
Frankie, I don't think they want him to. I mean, Weinberger said it right here. He answered my question faster than any question's ever been answered in my entire life.
Oh,
I
the
asked him
dynasty.
about the dynasty. He said he canned that so fast. When I said, "Do you think the era of the dynasties are over?" Yes. I didn't even finish getting the words out of my mouth, and he answered the question. So that means to me they don't want that 8 in a row Ronnie Coleman. This is fucking boring shit anymore. There got to a point. I love Ronnie. Don't get me wrong; he's one of my favorite bodybuilders. But having said that, there were a couple, at least 2 times during his reign when he should not have won. And
Same with
had he
Dorian.
not won,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean Dorian too. And had they not been given the nod because they were just already the champ, we would have had a much better mix up in the placings. And I think that's good for the sport because it breeds excitement for next year. Is the champ going to come back? Is he going to reclaim his title? Is the guy who beat him going to win? Is this the beginning of a dynasty? So, you've got all of that, in the mix, but to just blanketly give the champ, 8 straight Olympias or 7 or 6 or whatever, it makes the whole thing boring.
Well, it's also too, like Zach, I don't know if you'll agree, but the degree of separation between all these bodybuilders is so small now. But back in the day, these guys were so much better. Like Dorian was leaps and bounds at certain points of his career better. So was Phil Heath. So I don't know. It's close, but we'll see. Zach will be there, front row, Mr. Olympia.
I'll be with Frank. We always, here's the thing, we always end up migrating together. Like no matter, even the first year when we ran into each other backstage, which, hey, by the way, Frank walked in, waltzed in. They kept me outside for 10 solid minutes. They weren't going to let me in. I'm like, I swear I work here. I promise. Like, I know I have a job. I swear. And I get there and we can't even move. It was that first year, I think, in Orlando. And it was was it Orlando? Or was it, no, that was in Vegas when it was so crowded. We couldn't even move. So we ended up just going out in the stands and sitting out in the seats.
Oh, the Chris Angel Theater, right? Yeah. Right.
I was like, good Lord. Oh, man. That was rough.
Big Ramy goes, Frank. He goes, Frank, where is dressing room? I go, there isn't one. He goes, oh.
It was rough, man. It was tough to walk around. And we just looked at each other and I'm like, I'm leaving. First of all, I'm like, I'm not even wanted. So I'll just leave. Like, no,
I'm not wanted. It's funny. It's funny. Like, oh, Frank, you want to take it? You can sit in the front. I'm like, nah, I'll sit in the way. We sat all the way in the back. That was way better. I was like,
it was way easier.
Better save me a seat this year because I'll be there.
Yeah, all right.
We'll put you to work, Romano. What do you mean? You're not
I want to do this. I want to do this there.
We can.
What do you think we're doing?
Yeah, what do you think we're doing?
Well, wait a minute. When you get there and you see what they got set up for the other guys, and then
yes,
see what
that's
they got. We have a fucking milk crate with a bunch of wires hanging out of it off in the corner.
Well, I've been in contact with the people who run it. But anyway,
Frank's gonna muscle some people up this year because listen, he was the only one. Oh, so I gotta tell him this, Frank. Though I gotta tell him this. Frank was the only one. He saw me sweating, carrying all these bags, testing wires, and Frank just started lighting people up. And again, I didn't expect anything. I didn't expect that, but he was just like, dude, this is ridiculous. I was there from 9 to 6.
Yeah.
So, just setting up. Jesus.
John, and the company that had all the bells and whistles, they're not there anymore. So maybe we'll get their old set like Kramer got on Seinfeld, the old Merv Griffins.
well, what I found disappointing was that there was, this beautiful setup, this studio for, I just call them the other guys.
Yeah, you're better off.
And I was saying, like, Zach, where do we go? And Zach's like in the corner. He's in the corner behind, he's like pulling his own stuff out of his bags, and I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on here? So, we got to definitely make a stand this time.
This will be it. We're gonna do
this is it. We're gonna have everything there, and we're gonna have tons and tons of guests. So this will be good.
We're just gonna grab them right out of the expo and yank them into the studio.
So I'll be running the Olympia media, the social. I have 11 different athletes meetings, press conference, backstage 11:22, call to action 36. Yeah. So basically, I'll be putting up about 160 posts on all this stuff. But in between filming, checking everything, I'll be coming over and doing the podcast. And then people go, "What are you doing? What am I doing? Nothing."
What's Frank do all day? Yeah.
Nothing.
Obviously, you don't pay attention to the website.
And it's funny too, because when they ask me, they're like, "Can you ask Frank to do this?" I'm just like, "No, I can't." I'm like, "Why not?" I'm like, "He's doing enough. like whatever it is you want to ask, either you go do it yourself or you ask him, because I'm not going to be the fallout when you ask him to do more shit. No way.
It was, yeah. It's a lot going on. I need at least 2, 3 people with me at that time, which will be good. But that's what I'm working on, and we're working on people shooting stuff because this is content for the whole year
Yeah.
for the Olympia. So we're working on it. But Zach and I had a big video photo shoot at
Oh yeah,
Bev's, John.
that's right.
How'd that go?
It went great. It went great. We had Attila, Jake Wood was there, Dan Solomon, the Mannion, Jim
Wow.
Mannion, Tyler Mannion. Everybody was there.
Yeah.
In
Look,
In New York
at
Yeah, in the
Bev's.
gym.
at Bev's.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
That's what we were trying to
Uh,
get you up here for, John. That's what
Yeah.
we want you to come.
No one said anything
No,
and
other
then
than
so,
you.
well, the other thing is, it's watching Frank do this. It looks so easy because he's done it so much. And look, I'm not just saying that, by the way. Like, if anybody saw how smooth it was, even when it didn't seem like it was smooth, he was able just to quickly move. It's just experience and somebody who knows what they're doing. And it was just really nice to see that, because sometimes, man, you get the opposite where it's a mess and you can't do anything besides sit there and put your head in your hands because you know your day is lost.
yeah, we had a good time. We did triceps with Mr. Wood. He was funny. He's making fun of my protein treat, calling it a candy bar. But he's got a great
Yeah.
sense. I always like hanging out with him. He's got a great sense of humor. He's funny.
Yeah.
Uh, and then obviously Jim too, and and Steve, same. But it was good. But we had an incident where we had you walk
Oh,
into the gym and there's giant soft boxes, umbrellas, video, John, and she's using one machine. Everything's lit up around this one machine, and this trainer and this other woman were right on top of them. Now, for probably 15 minutes doing their sets. 15 minutes. So I did not say a word. I said, let them be. Don't say anything. And then because it looked like they were the type of people that wanted some sort of acknowledgement,
yeah.
or they wanted us to ask, and I didn't want oh, Frank Seppi or this person told us to move and we said no. I did not want to be on any Joey Swole or anything
Yeah.
else. So I just left it alone, and we redirected the lights. But that was it. Otherwise, it was pretty cool.
But honestly, though,
Wait,
it was pretty annoying. Like, the person was doing that to prove a point. And here's the thing: it's not like this happens all the time, or there was too much space being taken up. It was literally like, hey, let's knock this out and then move forward, and we have some other stuff to do. And they could have held off. It wasn't though they had to do that machine at that moment. They just wanted to take a stand, I guess, I don't know what the reason would be. There's no real reason, just to be a dick.
There's
you-
4
well,
other the same machines.
there's always the people who like to move in when they train, and it's usually in a squat rack. So and it's always the piece of equipment the gym has the least of. So
Yeah.
if there's one power rack in the gym, I guarantee you're going to get 2 meatheads with the gym bags and all the shit, and they're going to move in, and they're going to be there for half an hour minimum. Okay,
Well, now it's
so
now
I
it's
mean,
now it's the women with the hip thrusts on the Smith
right?
machine.
Yeah,
They're there
that's
for
it.
Yep.
45 minutes, man. I'm like,
Yeah, and they got to set all that shit up because they don't have a hip thruster machine. So they need a bench, they need the pad, they need the bar, they need. I mean,
bands.
and then they leave it all there when they're done.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
So
But you know what? It was good to see everybody and do everything. But before that, John, we were in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's where I was.
Took Frank
That's
3 hours
nothing wrong with Brooklyn.
took Frank 3 hours to get
From
there.
Long Island to Brooklyn, John, 3 hours, and for 2 hours of parking, $100.
Wow, in Brooklyn,
Yeah, in Brooklyn.
they charge you that much in Brooklyn?
Oh yeah, 3 hours. 3 hours. I was cruising on 100 carbs up until that day. Then all bets were off. I was so stressed out. I think I started
What?
with a
So
black and white cookie.
only in New York.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was in Brooklyn? Why did you guys go to Did you walk to Manhattan? Is that why?
No, no, we wouldn't be walking anywhere. No, we were there for
You walked
it was so Jack Taylor is a PR company that we Frank and I know a lot of the folks there, and last in the winter they did a health and wellness showcase showcasing a lot of their brands, and this one was much more interactive and there's a lot more folks there. And look, Frank and I just go there, hang out, talk to people, and we find stuff to do. Like we shot we did a rower. This I think it was called Averon. Is that the name of that company? I think.
Yeah. Yep.
They have a rower. They kind of gamified rowing because rowing is the worst. It's boring, but it's beneficial when you do it. But you know, the person, they did 2 minutes. This was the challenge, and the person that got the furthest would win one of their machines. So they put me and Frank against each other, and I think I got like 2 feet before I started sweating and pretty much just gave up. But Frank blazed all the way down. Was watching his screen. It was just.
Now, when you say they video gamed it, it's funny because the rower that they had at Gold's, or the row of rowers they had at Gold's, had this. Remember when Pong first came out? It was,
Yeah.
well, it was probably before your time.
Yeah.
You were probably like in
Pong.
diapers, but you had these little thing and it went boing. But it was the most crudest, most simplest thing that you could ever imagine, right? So that blocky, pixelated picture. So the rowers had. The pace rower guy was this pixelated thing with looked like a spider or a fly on the screen, and they had you, side by side, and the pace guy was like this, and you were constantly trying to catch up to him, and you never caught him. I don't know what no matter how hard you rowed, you never caught the guy. So, but nothing like a video game.
It was to go to Brooklyn. We were there for about 2 hours. I was in the car in my Jeep for 6 hours.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then when you get home from those trips, what do? You eat like an animal because you're stressed.
I would eat the pizza that I brought home from Brooklyn.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Frank's right though. I had
everything.
to take a couple breaths because the last thing I want is to walk in to my family. Like when I came home from Bev's in Long Island. So
3 hours.
it was 3.5 hours, and it's bumper to bumper. You're not moving, and man, I didn't get to train that day. I should have just trained at Bev's. I thought I was going to make it back in time. I didn't, so I'm already just irritated. And yeah, the last thing I want to do is like be in that condition and see my wife and kids. Like the last thing I want to do is take it out on them. Hey, Dad. Hey, assholes! Like, get out of here. Leave me alone.
It's amazing when you go to like a higher end brand fitness event where you walk around, John, and they're like, "Wow, you're huge," and you're like, "Who?" Like me, I'm like, "Me?" I'm like, I walked there, 233 pounds. I'm 6'2", like. And then I asked the guy, the rower guy, I'm like, how tall are you? So he goes, what was he, 6'8", 6'7"?
Yeah, he was 6'8". I know.
I go, what do you weigh? He goes, 230. So I must have extreme body dysmorphia because I was looking at him, I'm like, how is he 230? I'm 230.
Well,
but
Frankie, come on. We all have extreme body dysmorphia.
But I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, yeah.
It is funny though.
Wow.
Watching the people look at Frank, because some people know him, obviously, like they know who he is, but there's other people that are just like just a lot thinner, or and they kind of look at him and like he's like this giant, because it's different when you said it, Frank, when you're walking around the Olympia Expo or the Arnold Expo, you're kind of you're with folks that are larger people. Here it's a lot of, whether it's runners or people where they're playing pickleball or doing all this other stuff.
Yeah,
it is certainly not the same type of training style as Frank's.
No, so, it's like no. Well, a two pack, and it's okay. Like it's I went in my DMs after that, Zach, and I got to show you when I was funny because there was quite a few people who DM me. But the guys when I was leaving, when I left, those two guys were like, hey, we're big fans. They're like, you got to come to my spot. I'm like, where's your spot? They're like, the Nike Performance Center in the
Oh,
city. So they said, bring a
dude.
friend and they'll test everything for us for free. So whenever you're ready, we'll go to the
Let's
Nike
do it.
Performance Center.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'd be
we'll get
awesome, man.
everything.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
really cool.
We
Yeah,
probably
and
got to train for it, right?
I probably, yeah, or else I'll be vomiting everywhere.
It's funny. It's funny you say that. You know, when you go to the Olympia or the Arnold, there's legit people who train for the expo.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're tanned, they're lean, they're like they got ready for a show. You know, it was
Yep.
just walking around at the expo. I'm sure you don't see that at high
So
end fitness events.
when I was
No.
doing crazy amounts of like magazine covers and stuff, I was on my way to Vegas and everybody's like, 2 weeks out, man, 100 carbs, going to the expo, gonna be shredded. They won't even eat, because they get to sign pictures. So me and Jimmy the Bull are on the plane together, right? Going to Vegas. So we're sitting there and Jimmy goes, I gotta get a beer. I said, you know what? Me too. So I'm like, let's have a drink. And so after two, I'm like, you know what? He's like, I could drink 100. He's like, I could too. He goes, come on, come on. I was like, you know what? Let's go. All right, let's go. Zach, Jimmy wouldn't let the stewardess or the flight attendant move any of all the cans were crunched in the pockets before. By the time we were there, we had 26 were down. 26. So
I'm
whatever
surprised they didn't
cuts,
cut you off.
yeah, whatever cuts you had going there inside, they were
Gone.
gone. And then Jimmy goes, I gotta get a shirt. So I go, what do you mean a shirt? I go, you gotta get a shirt, we're gonna go out. I said, all right. So he's about 240. So we go into like this high-end shirt place and he's getting a black, well, obviously Jimmy's getting a black t-shirt,
Bro, all he
So
wears.
so he goes, you got a medium? I go, are you fucking
Medium.
serious? A
A
medium?
medium.
So me, the girl who was selling him the clothes, and another guy were pulling his shirt over his head like he was in a bench,
Like a
like
bench
he was in
shirt,
a
yeah.
bench contest.
Put baby
His arms
powder
are like
on him.
this. There was no way. And he had that shirt on for 3 days because there was no way he can get it off. So
Oh man.
my father used to drop me off. I was probably like 22, 23, and my father would be like, Frank, why do you have 3 bags and Jimmy have a lunch bag? He goes, what does he put his underwear in a lunch bag? He goes, why do you have all these clothes? And Jimmy has this little brown lunch sack. I was laughing hysterical. I'm like, it was so funny though with that. He's just 240 wearing a medium.
Good Lord.
He's
Crazy.
got to wear a tight black t-shirt all the time. It's his uniform. It's what he wears.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's look, like Johnny Cash.
Yep. 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 Men in
Oh,
black.
there's a few folks that I totally forgot to
Ignored.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Well, okay, Jerry's got a question. This will kind of be something different on X/Twitter. Sorry, Jerry, I would have responded to you, but I can't on here, so I'll just say it out loud. He said, "How do you program your mind to achieve your goals? Do you have any tips?" So I think it just comes down to what? Just goal setting, right? Isn't that what he's asking for? So any tips on how to? What do you guys do when you? So let's after John. Well, John's he's busy. John's talking to somebody. And he
Sorry,
can't- I'm just
the
kidding.
world keeps moving.
I'm
Can't
just
help
kidding.
it.
I'm just kidding.
Look, when it applies to fitness or a fit goal, you can't look too far ahead. So you have to set smaller goals. So
Yeah.
whether it's like, if it's a 16-week goal, if you're getting on contest, I used to break it into fours, 4 weeks to see where I'm at to reach different levels. And any self-help book that you read, it will tell you that goals are like a ladder. Each rung on a ladder, gets you closer to your goal and stuff like that. But honestly, it comes down to how bad you want it. That's the
Mhm.
complete difference between elite athletes, fitness, bodybuild, people reaching their goals in business. If you're Not many people know what all in really means. And you have
Mhm.
to be all in, especially we were talking about this. You have to have the passion. If you don't have the passion for what you're doing or what you're trying to create in business or fitness, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, I think too
Vision,
that.
passion, and discipline
Mhm.
Yeah.
are most important core values that you can have to achieve any goal, not just a
Yeah.
fitness goal. But
Sure.
I think one of the problems I think people make is they got too much going on at one time. When you want
Yeah.
to really accomplish something, you got to be a one trick pony. It's got to be focus, tunnel vision. That's all there is in the world is what you're trying to do. But if you're trying to do that and then you're building a house over here and you're trying to start a business over there and you're buying a new car over here and your wife's going you to plan a vacation and then you got the kids and if you're all this spread out and distracted like that with other things, you cannot possibly harness the amount of passion that you need to exude to accomplish any goal, not just fitness, any goal. So you got to pare away the distractions, the white noise, and focus. And if you can focus and be disciplined and have passion for that, you're going to win.
Yeah, and I think anticipating those distractions and also anticipating some of the hurdles that are going to come up and maybe what you might normally use as an excuse to get out of it, and knowing that's going to come up, and it's just not going to work. So, say if I'm going to train and I need to get, whatever. If I'm training for this death race and I know I want to start to run more, well, I can't just say, well, my ankle hurts today. So I have to just keep doing it, even if it means running slower or whatever. Like, I'm going to have to encounter this stuff because I know that's what I'm going to deal with when I do this. So I think that for me is what helps.
Get rid of the snowflake mentality. When there's something bad happens, you don't fold like a deck of cards. You know what I mean? Like, people aren't used to that. If you're coming from your mom's house at 20 something years old, living a life, you're not used to the trials and tribulations of things that are really going to happen to you. You know what I mean? People don't have that thick skin and, like I said before, that scar tissue to move forward. You have to have that determination. Well, if we look at our man Sylvester Stallone in Rocky IV when he went to Russia, right? He needed no distractions. Dorian Yates when he was Mr. Olympia, no distractions. Like when he was training for the Mr. Olympia, it's like you have to have tunnel vision and focus, determination for one thing. That's how you create it. Look, in business, like with me, we were joking before. You know, I'm rich one day. You got that order, and pour the next. Rich one day, pour. It's like, stake the steakums. You gotta anticipate that life's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah. Man,
So
you
I don't know.
motivated John so much that he bounced. Look at that. He was so motivated that he left.
I'm excited about this death race. So tell me more about this because I'm gonna be there commentating on you.
Yes, I am trying to iron this out to get us a place to, stay that's nearby, and I want to try to make it a little nice for everybody else because I'll be able to stay there hopefully one day, and then I'll be in the woods the rest. The thing is, I don't even know. It's so I know what I think, but I don't know. In the past, what's happened is you show up, and there's been times where immediately we've had to do physical tasks. There's been times where we just kind of stand around and you don't know what you're doing. And then, so there's been times where we just had to sit there and hold a plank until everybody arrived. So it was kind of like, and then after that, there he is. There he goes. And then after that, it kind of just picks up without you even knowing. So there's times you'll be able to get a heads up as to what's going on because you'll be able to communicate with the crew. Not me. I'm just kind of going through it and I don't know. I didn't expect to lose my socks within the first, X amount of hours last time. They stole them from me, and that was terrible. And they gave me a new pair of shoes to wear. They said, "Oh, you're wearing these. You're not supposed to do this, but we'll make it more difficult for you." Nice shoes, but they didn't feel so good at the time.
Did you get the Chevy Chase white ones that he got from his brother-in-law on vacation? We'll give you these shoes.
Oh man!
By the way, I had my friend was training at he had me laughing in tears. He was training over at we were talking about death race. He went over to a franchise gym. Let's leave it at that. And he went in the stall in the morning, and he had massive diarrhea, right? So so he had massive diarrhea. So he's in the stall. He's got massive diarrhea. He finishes. He stands up. His pants around his ankles. He goes to get the toilet paper. No toilet paper. So So now he can't pull up his pants because obviously,
Oh,
he's got excrement all over himself, right? So he's got to make that quick journey to the next stall to see if it's
oh,
open to see if they have toilet paper. So the way that the gym is situated, he can't see who's in front of you. He opens up the door, his pants are on his ankle, he's got diarrhea all over him, opens up the stall, and some kid has his video camera flexing, set up where he's posing. So this guy does like a walkthrough with his pants around his ankles in the next stall. And he was freaking out. He's like,
oh.
"You think he's gonna put it on YouTube? You think he's gonna do this?" I was like, "That's hysterical." I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, "What's wrong with you? You're supposed to peek through the door.
I know.
It looks
Yeah.
both ways." But this guy was stuck. So there he is, like 2 seconds walking by his pants around his ankle. He's like, "I covered the front of me." I'm like, "Oh," he goes, "But I was just dying. I was laughing
Now,
Oh
hysterically.
God. Oh.
Beware of the video camera people posing in the locker rooms.
Right.
now
Oh.
what's even worse now is that a lot of these guys doing this filming is they're doing it live. They're
Yeah.
doing it live on Facebook. So you know when my buddy at I will say an unnamed gym on the East Coast got fed up with the tripods and the lighting, with got did this walk through the gym where he trampled like 3 different tripods and halo lights from these guys set up, and one of them was doing it live. So here you got this 280-pound 6'2" dude strutting through the gym, smashing tripods,
Oh
cameras,
man.
lights, and it's like live on Facebook. When he's
Oh.
coming at you. So
You-
yeah.
No one,
Um,
no one will be. It's funny that I was at Bev's yesterday training. I did back at Bev. Did I do back? No, what was I doing yesterday? I don't know. Shoulders. So there were a lot of guys still around from the New York Pro, and there was some guys there look like bloated, 1,000 milligram Siponate with a string tank top from, no deodorant,
Oh.
stomping around like they're,
Zit. Don't forget the
like
zit.
everybody's
Oh.
afraid of them when you could pretty much probably launch 27 punches before he even gets his hand up. But I'm just watching this. Well, I'm walking through the stink to get to my machine, and these
Mm.
guys some of the guys were like not too friendly to some of these other guys, not
Yeah.
knowing that the other guys are MMA fighters who train in the back at Derek Pans, who will destroy them within, like John Wick, within 3 seconds. So you really can't bully 280, 290. Doesn't matter at Bev's because you have that so many MMA and professional boxers training in there
Yep.
that you better watch your P's and Q's in there because you
Yeah.
don't know where it's coming from.
Oh, dude, I got caught in a cloud of someone's stank on Friday, and it was putrid. It was horrible. And I was with Jose, who was there with Frank, helping out. And man, he's like, "Do you smell that?" And I'm like, "Bro, you can't. If you have nostrils and they work, like you can't not smell it." I'm like, "This is." I have to leave. I had to like. I could not. Nobody could train next to this person. It was foul, awful.
Yeah. Do you ever get like your nose hairs get like catch
Yes.
the whiff,
Yes.
and then you can't
Yes.
get rid of it, and it's like an hour later, and you're gone. The guy's gone, and it's
Yeah.
an hour later, you're still smelling it, and it's like, fuck, go away. You
It's like
know?
the hot stuff in Protan at the
Yeah.
bodybuilding shows. It
Yes.
takes forever to go through. Oh, I'm like, oh man,
But dude, you
where
gotta
would
know. You gotta know you stink like that, right? I mean, there's no way that that person's like me. Oh my god, like how, dude? It's like you are rancid. Like you fucking stink up the whole joint, and it's like fine. Yeah, wait, no big deal. Like it is a big deal. You're the
bro?
worst.
How do you physically stink that bad? That's what I want to know. Is it like,
I
is it a
don't know.
process of not showering or wiping your ass for a certain amount of time, not brushing your teeth? Because literally, if the three of us were like Tom Hanks and Castaway on an island, there's no way we could in the hot sun for 12 hours a day. There's no way we would be able to stink that bad. It's not physically possible. So
No.
what are they doing that makes them smell so
Here, I'll,
bad?
I'll give you a little anecdotal story. So in my gym, I had a lock box for guns. So if you're a cop or a narco or whatever, you come into the gym, you put your gun in and they're little cubbies. They're like this big, they're good for a pistol. All right. And I think there was 9 or 12 of them in a box like this, it looked like a mailbox. And I don't pay attention to it. Guy comes in it's one of those things where you key, it's got the little rubber band on the key, you put the key in, you put the quarter in, or with peso, whatever it was. And then you turn the key, it drops in and the thing's locked. So I don't pay attention to that. It's by the check-in desk. I'm never down there, and all of this. And now I'm noticing, I'm walking down the stairs and I'm like, what's that smell? Fuck. And it's like, we're looking everywhere. I'm like telling the cleaning people, are you guys changing the water in the buckets? I mean, why does it stink here? No one can figure it out. And like 3 months went by and it's like the smell is getting worse and worse. We can't figure it out. And then I see one day this guy goes up and opens one of these little things, and instead of putting a gun in the thing, he puts his shorts and his t-shirt in there. He had been keeping his shorts and his t-shirt in the fucking gun locker for 6 months and never washing them. And it's like, it was putrid. It was horrible. And it was oozing out of this box. And we cleared it out, and we couldn't. It took 2 weeks to get the fucking smell out of there. It was so bad. So
that's gross.
You incubate it, and you sweat, it concentrates and rots, and God knows what happens in there. But man, that was unbelievable.
You know what the worst was though, John? The protein shakes left in the car.
Ooh.
Like the little, and you leave the cap. So we used to we were when we were training at Bev's, it was a group of us, and we always mess with each other or whatever. So we would keep it in the car for 3-4 days and put it under their seat. And it would just slowly, you could disintegrate a human being. If you attach some sort of trigger to that, that is the worst biological weapon that you could have. But so we used to screw around with that. Then I took it to the next level. My training partner, Anthony, I went and got to the fish market on the corner of Bev's, and I got a Branzino. And I put the Branzino under the carpet, under his seat, so you couldn't see it. So we were driving to the beach like 3 days. And he goes, we got to drive with the window open. I'm like, why? And he's like, I don't know, man. He goes, it just started stinking. He couldn't figure it out for after. And then I was 300 pounds. I sat in the passenger seat and I reclined the seat back, and it broke. So he had to put a milk crate. He had to put a milk crate in the back to keep the seat up. And then he was parked next to he's parked next to my car, and he came late, and he was doing cardio. I got to do cardio. I went in and I physically picked his car up. He had one of those little Nissan Sentra things, and I moved it. I pulled the front, pulled the back. I moved it 4 spots over. I miss those days, Zach.
Yeah,
those were the days.
All right, couple questions that came in. One, this is somebody that's been meaning to send John a DM. He wanted to work at your gym, John, but you don't have the gym anymore, right? You're not doing that.
No.
When did you stop doing the gym?
I sold my last interest in it in 15 or 16, I think.
Okay. So let me see. Whoever wrote that. Oh, Jay Boot. All right. Sorry, man. So you're out of a job. So,
yep. Sorry.
But you can still talk to you. If you got another question for him, he's here. And then Simon Cardy writes, can ectomorphs get big? So I'm guessing he's asking if that body type can put on muscle and size, which would be, just based on science, right?
Just a harder road. It's just a harder road. There used to be, I remember the first time I heard the word ectomorph was in Iron Man magazine. It was like, hard gainer, if you're an ectomorph, you need to do this and you need to do that, and you need to do all compound movements, and you need to eat more. And because you have usually ectomorphs are taller too, skinny, longer limbs.
Yep.
So I consider myself an ectomorph. Like if I
You
didn't lift weights, I'd be naturally thin. Yeah.
would you? Okay.
Oh yeah.
But
See, I just can't picture it. Like, I can't picture you thin. I can't. You're a big dude. Like, I guess, but Romano
Thinner.
used to be a big dude too. Yeah, I guess all you got to do is thinner.
not thin,
Thinner.
thinner.
Like,
No. I don't think you're thin, John. I don't think you're thin. I think that, but I mean, when I'm looking at older
I'm
photos of
lean.
you, and same with Frank though, when you're going from 300 plus to
Yep.
220 to 240, which just seems to be kind of the range that you fit in. It's a major difference. It doesn't mean you're small. And same with you, John. Like you're way more. Look, because you take pictures with your shirt off for 75 hard, those are posted. So it's, you can see the difference. It doesn't, to me, I'm like, man, both of you guys with less weight, to me, seems like it would be more comfortable. But that's just.
Oh man, it is. Yeah, I was 50 pounds more than this, and so yeah, that was. It's funny. I saw a picture of Palumbo the other day on Facebook when he weighed like 315 or 320. He was sitting down with his shirt off, and his chest was up to here, and you could just see how uncomfortable that is, And I mean, and he's lost over 100 pounds by now. But I mean, even at me at 50 pounds off, the difference is so amazing. I mean, you just take for granted the freedom you have when you don't have that weight hanging on you, and the rashes and the chafing and all the other issues, that it causes. But the thing with endomorphs and ectomorphs, I think people need to realize is that there's basically two types of muscle fibers in our body: fast twitch and slow twitch. The fast twitch muscles give you big strength. The slow twitch muscles give you endurance. We are naturally endowed mostly with the slow twitch muscles. It's rare to get somebody that's overly endowed with fast twitch muscles. And I think that's where they confuse the endomorph, ectomorph is the type of muscle fibers that you have, because once the concept of building strength, building muscle mass and building strength is the same no matter what you are. You have to overstress the system, and it adapts by compensating. It compensates by adapting and growing more muscle, no matter what you are. But the amount of strength that you can produce is going to be muscle fiber dependent. So when you're considering ectomorph, endomorph, mesomorph, consider what type of muscle fibers you have.
Cool. That's thanks for the answer, man. That was actually way more in depth than I was going to say. I was just going to say and then move on. But so we got a fly in and out. We got a thumbs up on Seppi's protein snack. It's not a snack, sir. It's a treat. Thank you. It's a protein treat.
It's not a cookie. It's not a cookie. It's not a snack.
Don't you call it a bar? Don't you dare fly in and out. So wait a second, Frank. So they ask where the protein is coming from in the bar. Frank knows this. I know he knows this.
He's got to know this.
I'm not telling what my supplier. You want to know?
No. I think he's saying where does what is it like? I think they're talking about ingredients.
Yeah. What's your protein source?
Yeah.
It's a milk protein isolate.
Fly in and out. What do you think? We in? I mean, they're good. I had them, and
Did you hear me?
Yeah, protein.
It's a milk protein isolate. Yeah. Oh wait, I'm trying to find. Wait. Oh wait.
Oh.
No.
Now there we go. We can read the ingredient panel.
There it is. And I will say,
it says milk protein isolate.
Oh, it does. I don't have the thing on me right now. I don't have that on me right now, but I will say I did take Frank's suggestion the other day. He said, "Hey man, throw some peanut butter on there," and I did, and dude,
I know.
Great suggestion. It's awesome.
Make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich out of it.
I just ran into somebody over at the. So John, when you come to, let me ask you. So when you come to a nutritional protein bar, now people go into like, well, 9 grams per fat gram and 4 grams for carbs and 4 grams for protein. Okay, everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know that with fiber, allulose, everything else, they're like, why doesn't this add up? And then when you look at it, it's like it actually less than the 180 calories that we talk about. But people have to learn how to read a label.
Yep.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's not that simple and clear cut.
I remember working for Twin Lab, and I was doing a calorie breakdown of I forgot what, and the head of the lab was complaining to one of the brothers, the Bleckman brothers, that I was miscalculating, formula. And so they call me into the office and they go, how come he's getting, 190 and you're getting 204 or whatever it was? And I said, because I'm counting the sweetener that he's not counting. So you put a packet of equal in, there's 4 calories, or stevia or whatever. So you
Yep.
everything adds up. So you got to be like, really, when you say like, it's got this many calories based on how many grams of protein or how many grams of carbs. Well, what's it sweetened with? What's it preserved with? What are the additives? They have calories. So, you're going to get, miscalculations if you don't pay attention to that.
And you also have to subtract.
Yes.
You also need to subtract big time. So we're actually under the 180 calories. So, but we let it fly. But it was funny. I just ran into a guy at the gym, and he's like, "Hey, I just bought 72 boxes." I was like, "Wow." Why?
Wow.
He's like, "Yeah, because they went." Yeah, he's like, "I love them."
That's
This
great.
guy. Yeah, it was cool. I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
That's awesome.
Keep buying them. Keep buying them.
Keep buying them.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to re-up because my wife, I think I told you Friday, my wife keeps taking them. Like every time I go back, like the count gets lower and lower. And I'm like, dude, I bought those shits for me. Those are for me.
That doesn't fly in my house.
I sponsored a powerlifting event in Wolf Fitness in Jersey, and they loved them. So, you never know. Zach and I are going down to Wolf Fitness in Jersey, one of the locations.
Yeah.
So the guy Tony owns him's awesome. And don't be surprised if Seppi doesn't have a Wolf Fitness facility of his own soon.
Wow.
Oh, I like that.
I'm going to highly dissuade you from doing that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right, man.
I need more chaos in my life.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, owning a gym is an experience that is second to none. And it really opens your eyes about humanity as a whole. I mean, it's like no
I didn't
other.
say I was opening it to the public. I wasn't going to open it up to the public.
You mean just for you?
Just that.
Yeah. So Frank and Zach, are you guys going to the Alabama show in June? I don't even know what that is. Probably not.
I am.
What you are?
Montgomery, Alabama. Yep.
What is it?
What is the?
It's a show. I don't know.
Bodybuilding?
It's
what, like Pirates of Penzance?
Burlesque? Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here? Like
Phantom of the Opera? It's a show.
No, it's a pro show. It's an amateur and a pro show. The promoter is flying in me, Dave Palumbo, Greg Valentino, Sid, the announcer,
Nice.
Lee Priest, Jimmy the Bull. Jimmy the Bull's actually leaving Long Island, Frankie, and going to the south. And who else? 6 of us will be there. Yeah, so it's going to be a really cool event. I'll have more news and information for you as it gets close.
That's cool. We Frank and I were not offered anything for that, so that's cool.
Zach and I are going to in June the Olympia press conference at the resort. Yeah, yeah.
Nobody asked me to go.
No, I was there, and then I'm going with Mr. Dan Solomon to Michigan for the Transcend new facility, the new gym, new facility. Everything's supposed to be really beautiful, and that's, I think, coming up. And then I think we have the Olympia. But and Zach and I'll be Friday. We'll be in Manhattan.
Yeah. That's
training with Chris Daughtry.
That's right.
That's gonna be fun.
I might serenade him. Who knows? While he's doing a set, just to show him how I can really, tickle. Yeah, I can tickle the mic.
Oh, so I look. Chris Daughtry's awesome, right? He just wanted to train. He wanted to train together. Like, I met him. I went backstage at his show at the Paramount in Huntington, and this guy's an awesome dude. So, and he's totally into fitness, really low key. And so he goes, "What do you want me to wear to the show?" I said, "Well, he's like, can I wear a rock tank top?" I said, "Yeah, man, wear yours." He's like, "I'm not gonna wear my own." I go, "What do you mean I can wear your own?" I go, "Aaron Judge wears a Yankee hat." I go, why not? I go, "Michael Jordan wears Jordan stuff." He's like, "No." So now after we hang up, I'm getting Zach and I tank tops. I'm gonna try to find Taylor Swift,
Sure.
Britney Spears, or something for this photo shoot. I think it's gonna be hysterical.
I'll rock
So
it.
I'm gonna
You
get.
know that. I'm down. I'm game.
We got no shame. I don't care what anybody says. Who
No.
cares?
Well, now, but this is old. One of the scams we used to run back in the 80s, depending on who was working the desk at Gold's, was you go to Gold's with a World Gym tank top on. And as soon as you walk, no, you can't wear that. And they toss you a Gold's Gym tank. I got like 4 free tank tops that way, man.
So I was
nice.
with Stone. I won't say his name, but he's a stone cold, real Sons of Anarchy biker that I used to train with at Beb's, and there was a guy who wore a different. He was a fireman, and he wore like a different gym shirt, and he goes, "Come here." Now this guy's scary, man. He goes, "Come here." He took a scissor and cut the legs of his pants off in the middle of a gym because it wasn't a Bev Francis guy. I think at the time it was Gold's Gym. It was a Gold's Gym. And the
Yeah.
guy, and he handed him the legs, like the leg.
Oh man.
I was like, wow. And this is somebody you just gotta take it. You're not calling the police, you're not telling them stop it or whatever. I had a blackhead in my ear, and he was at the counter and he goes, Seppi, come here. He took a pen and he shoved it in my ear with the thing. I'm like, what the? And he's like, the thing's annoying me. I go, how is that annoying you? It's inside my ear. It was like a little blackhead. He's like, I'm gonna pop it for you. He popped it out
Wait,
with the back of a big pen.
He crammed a knife.
Popped it
Yeah,
out.
he crammed a pen in there. Jesus.
How does
Yeah,
that
Wow.
work?
he was.
But you
He's
gotta
like,
say,
let's
like,
get.
what do you do?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, thanks, man. That was thank you. I appreciate it.
Let me get that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, let's get some Chinese food. I'm like, I'm not driving in the same car with you. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll meet you there, and I'll get away from the window too. I'm like, but he was awesome. I remember I cut the leg off the guy's sweatpants.
That's hysterical.
Oh, I
Look at
forgot
that
to
hat,
ask.
Zach.
I see a Seppi nutrition hat. One day.
Yeah.
If it's on your site, I will purchase it.
And if you ever
I'm
want
not-
me to wear, now if you want to make some beanies, we can talk.
See, I like
The
this.
next evolution now is June. Well, I'm poor now. June, I have this massive order coming in, and it's going right out. But one of the interesting things, places, a bariatric center purchased a huge amount of them, which I was like, wow, that's pretty much outside the box. I was like, oh, that's cool. So there's a lot of places, I think 2,500 places. And then Saturdays now I'll be training with Juan Morel, the cookie dealer. He
Yeah,
hit me up.
the cookie
Yeah,
mogul.
he hit me up. He's like, we got to train because we did back for Muscle and Fitness once. And he goes, I was sore for like 2 weeks. I'm like, bro, I was not trying to hurt you. I'm like, that's how I train. I go, you go, I go. I don't bullshit. I train. I do about 45 sets for back. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not setting any records with weight or anything, but I go by speed. So he's like, we're gonna train together, and he was like, if you need help with anything, let me know. So who knows? Like, there's so many. He's a good dude. He's a really, really good guy, Juan. But we'll be training
Yeah.
together on Saturdays. He's a good dude.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
John, there was a question for you, John, up here. It was about RX Muscle. I can't find it, but it said, you're a co-founder of that, right? Are you still
Getting royalties?
Yeah. Like, well, I don't know. I guess that's what they were asking. They're like, is John like a co-owner with Dave? Like, do they own it or run it together?
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I'm asking.
Since
so
2009. Yeah.
All right. And so how's that going? Like, I mean, I'm curious. Is that like in terms of it's got to like, does it? Meaning that do you do well? Like, do you make a profit or do you make revenue by selling products?
We make enough. We make enough to pay the bills. We have an engineer. We have all of the subscriptions and shit you got to have a podcast. So it pays for all of that.
Okay.
It pays. We have expenses for giveaways and promotions that we do, like when we do a Bros versus Pros or something like that. It pays for that. And whatever other money is, we put back in to try to make things more interesting. look, we have 300 and I think 60,000 subscribers
YouTube.
on YouTube.
All right.
But it took 15 years to get that many. So
Yeah.
it's been a really slow, hard grind. There was never like a ton of money coming in, but
Well,
it takes care of itself and it gives us the opportunity to do other shit.
Cool.
yeah, use the platform for advertising for his
Right.
products and other
That's the
things. That's
thing.
what you use it for.
You hit the nail on the head, Frankie. It's really an
Yeah.
advertising platform. Dave uses it for his stuff. We gave Mr. G a big, slice of promotional time for his cookies. Any one of us who's got some kind of thing going on, you want to promote, we do that, so it serves a purpose. Half the audience we got leaving messages here are from our RX Muscle
Yeah.
Follow.
I did notice that a lot of them clearly because they're talking about things that I have no idea about it. So I just sometimes don't chime in with it. But anytime we've been doing this. Actually, John, I realized this. We've been doing this for a year, I think.
Wow.
In different iterations. Probably not as consistent as since the three of us started doing it, but. Yeah, it was that long because I'm finding some of these old files. It's pretty crazy. But even since then, man, people have always jumped in and have known what John's been up to from his other stuff.
Did you see how many views we got on a Nick Walker?
Yeah, quite a few.
100-something thousand.
Nice, that's great.
Wait, I'm not on YouTube.
No, on Instagram. Their
On
Instagram
Instagram.
reels over 127,000 views.
Oh,
shit!
Nice, dude. Wow. Nice.
So YouTube videos I see, not our YouTube, but I'm watching other YouTube channels where they get 3,000 to 4,000 views and they do nothing anywhere else. And you're like, how do you monetize it? But for us, because we have all these other platforms, X and the reels, you're talking about one clip got close to 200,000 views. You don't realize it because you're like, who's listening, who's what? But then you watch. You can't lie. You click on it and watch. It says plays on it,
Yeah.
But it was interesting. But it's hard with Caps No Cap because how many clips can you put up on Instagram? So you got to find you can put them in the stories, but you can only really go one main because people think they're seeing the same thing.
Right.
They're like, oh, I saw this already because they don't look. So they see we're wearing the same hat, same shirt, even though it's a totally different clip, Zach. They're like, oh, yeah, I saw this. No, you didn't.
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, so you got to lead with your big guns first. and then go on with that.
Yeah, that's great though. I didn't know that was. Here's how I can tell, by the way, that it did well because on my page there was something posted. I guess this streams also to my YouTube page, which has like 25 people that are subscribed to it. So it's like it's really rarely updated. But there was comments on that, and I'm like, oh shoot, okay, like that's how I knew that at least it was being watched somewhere because that page is dormant and no one ever looks at it. So.
Well, I saw like 540 or something on YouTube, which is really rare because no one watches this on YouTube.
No.
Yeah, no one knows. No one knows we're really there. Wow, that's 540. Did the same guy watch it 540 times? He watched it 540 times.
The four people that usually watch it watched it a bunch of times.
All right, so I have this woman in here. I think it's Lena, Lena. Lena
Hi,
basically she has. Hey, Lena. She's got two. It looks like she had two knees replaced, and she started walking, and now she's asking, about going to the gym. Clearly, she needs stuff that's going to be, non-impact.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Swim.
So you don't have to go to the gym. As long as you're moving. I mean, not right now, but if you're walking, you're moving. Like as John said, swimming. There's so many different things you can do.
Get in the pool and walk.
Bev Francis had both knees replaced.
Did she?
And she both knees replaced, and she won the Australian women's powerlifting contest over 65, I believe.
I
over
saw
65
that. I
years
didn't know
old.
she had her surgeries though before that.
And she's hysterical. Like she was like, look at me jump. And she was jumping and stuff. I was like, wow, that's cool. But yeah, so I guess everybody's different case, but Bev won the powerlifting show with two replaced knees.
Jeez.
I'm gonna replace the left part of my brain soon.
Oh, that sounds good.
And you'll be in your right mind.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I don't
Well, you
know
can
if
get
I'll
that
ever be.
chip, that like a chip that Elon Musk is puts in that guy's head. The other dude is like bilingual and he can communicate with stuff. I mean,
I
that's
know.
nuts.
It's crazy. My son makes me watch all that stuff. He was watching the Mark Zuckerberg Avatar the other day. I was like, "What is this?" It looked
Oh
like
shoot,
completely real. It's insane what they have going on. But
we're
unfortunately,
doomed.
John and I will be dead, so it
I
won't
know. I
matter.
was gonna say we're all
Yep.
doomed.
Have you guys been seeing the AI generated physiques that are being posted all over the place now?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't. No.
I'm
yes.
telling you, they're good. They're really good. And in 5 years, they're going to be indistinguishable from real. But it's the weirdest thing, man. You see these insane physiques, and then you look at it. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not real. But it takes you a couple of minutes to to zero in on that. But man, it's getting some of them are really good, and they're only going to get better.
It's
So
funny, like what happens when they show up? Like the date, some guy was telling. I always get the DMs. Hey, you're using your picture for a dating app. What happens when they show up? And
yeah,
Yeah.
and
then
you look
what?
like,
Yeah.
you look like a bag of shit, and
So
you're like,
my
and
my wife has a friend who's single, who lives online. Actually, she does this all the time. You see, and my wife's always saying, look at what she's doing now. Look what she's and you see like she's taking a picture like from over here, up, like, and you get like this much of an aspect of what she's doing. Then if you pull back, you see that, wow, this girl weighs 230 pounds, and she hides it. And I'm saying to myself, and I asked my wife what Frankie just said, what happens when she shows up? See, I mean, she
what
looks
do you get?
nothing.
Yeah.
You
What do
see a picture of her on that she posts online, and then you see her in real life. Two different people from two different countries. They're completely different. So it's like, what do you show up? You put this on your dating app. You meet some guy. You're going to show up and meet him in person. What's going to happen? They're going to say like, "Who are you?" You know, it's
yeah.
Oh yeah,
crazy that people do that.
But it's also, how do you expect? Okay, if you're just trying to hope that somebody's going to hook up with you, that's one thing. But if you actually are trying to get a get something going with somebody, and you're starting off with
the
with
lies.
like horrible lies, like how do you recover? It's kind of like, I
Can't.
think time to go. Like, what are you
I
going to do?
I really really want to know what's going through the mind of somebody who would use Frankie's picture for their account on their dating app. You really don't want to date anybody because the second you show up, you're not him. Then what? You know?
It was
Yeah.
funny. They were like it was funny. I went and I like it. Yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess. It was a mess. I was laughing. But then you know what? Like, what if? And I was thinking that I was really putting some thought into this, Zach. What if some woman contacts the guy who's the fake picture of me, and they start hitting it off, and she's married, right?
Yeah.
And this guy's like, "Hey, let's meet here. Or let's meet
Oh
here."
yeah.
And then I'm in the gym, and this guy comes charging in and said, "You're going after my wife." Now, do I have the 2 minutes to explain that that's not me, or shots
Mm,
fired, and I got to start ducking? So
ye-
it really is kind of,
no.
dangerous.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. Also,
So
you don't know like what if they're not even going to show
no.
themselves and they just keep perpetuating this, then it gets worse and worse.
Oh,
Yep.
forget it. It's
It's
whatever. I'm gonna go live in the metaverse.
what's that called? Catfishing, catfish. When
Oh
you
yeah,
you
Yep.
make believe
catfish.
you're like come across as somebody else. Man, that happened to me one time. It was really weird. I mean, I was talking to this person and they weren't them. They had a whole like library of pictures of some girl. I don't know who it was. I guess an actress in a foreign country that maybe nobody would recognize, and
No,
she's
yeah.
using her pictures, as her, and it wasn't. And then so what ended up happening is that she never would meet anybody. So you know you play it for as long as you can until it comes time to meet the person. Then my aunt died. I got to go. Something like that. So It's really fun. It's really weird that people try to do that. They try to come off as somebody else without thinking that, wow, maybe someday I really have to meet this person. Then what am I going to do? Oh,
Yeah.
I was
Or
lying. It wasn't
the
me.
big thing is
That's a great way to
age
start
too,
off.
right? Like age. People lie
Yes.
about their age. Like they,
Yeah.
they show up and you're like, like when I first got divorced, like, I was 48 and I'm like, yeah, I'm 48 too. And you're like, there's no fucking way you're
Right.
48. Like, 48. Like, what are you
But,
serious?
but
Like,
the thing is,
but you
like
gotta be
now
nice,
we're all hip to it now, right? Because
Yeah.
we're, but back then it was like, oh wow, this person
Yeah.
likes me, and it's like
You're like,
it was new, it was brand new,
yeah.
So like
You
now we know the scam, so
you might have been
it
you
doesn't.
might have been born in 48, but you ain't 48. Like, you know, what was that movie like coming out here saying you're looking like Janet Jackson, looking like Freddie Jackson.
Freddie Jackson. Yeah.
But you know what's funny? I have this one account on my Instagram who DMs me these nude women's pictures all the time, right? So it's always like close-ups or this or that. And I'm like, so I finally I DM him back. I go, it's not you. Yes, it is. It's me. It's me. But I'm like, it's not you. I go, it clearly I can see it's 7 different parts, 7 different people because the parts aren't matching up. So I'm actually taking the time sitting there saying, wait, no, that's not her. That's not that's 7 different people. So excuse me, Jeff. Living in your mother's basement. Stop sending me pictures off of of these random women. Like, at least stay with the same person. Like, how stupid are you? Like you look like Grace Jones in one picture and Nicole Kidman in the other. It doesn't take a scientist to figure out it's not the same person. I was
I never did
laughing.
online dating, and I just know I would have been horrible at it. I just know I'm not somebody
No.
that's gonna immediately like captivate. It takes a while. I'm a slow burn. So I don't have anything witty to start off with. I don't have writing about myself. A profile is like the biggest. I can't do it so well. The biggest pet peeve. So my profile would be so boring, and it would just go nowhere. So thank God I didn't have to do that.
No, you know what? You can't. If you go to a gym and you have a social media account, you're gonna meet somebody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, if the biggest thing with the online thing is like, there people like, well, online it's it's legit. I'm like, how is it legit? Explain to me how online's legit as opposed to meeting somebody in the gym and seeing
Right.
exactly what they look like and who they are and everything else and whatever. And I'm sure there's other people if they've been training there for a long time know them or know their story.
Mhm.
But there's also the group who's been recirculated between every other guy and girl in the gym. Like, oh yeah, yeah, Susie's been with Jim, Ken, Brian, and this and that. And then you go out with Susie, and she's like, "Yeah, all those guys are jerks. They're all mean." Oh, were they? You know what I mean? Like it's,
Yeah,
but they
it was
also,
them. It was
yeah, they
them.
also, yeah, it was them, wasn't
Yeah,
me? But
that's the
they all
best.
seem to go,
That's the best thing about meeting somebody in the gym. It's like you definitely know what they look like. They
Mhm.
can't hide anything, by
no,
with spandex, right? And you have something in common. You're both in the gym, so you're probably got a lot of other stuff in common. So I think it's the best thing to do. But the online thing, it's a disaster, man, because it's a fertile ground for scamming and lying, and and
yeah.
then what they don't get is that there's got to be an exit strategy of this. Are you doing this intending to meet somebody, or just get the ball rolling and then bow out when things start getting close? What are you trying to
You
do?
know what annoys me a lot is that some women that I met have this holier than thou kind of persona where they look down upon people in our industry. They're like, well, she's a bikini competitor,
Mhm.
and she's always in pictures of a bikini, and look at her trying to get attention, and then like the woman's a doctor with 2 kids and just does it because she loves the sport and she needs a challenge. Like, and then meanwhile, this person has fake lips, fake boobs, this and that. Will put up a picture and be like, "Oh yeah, just wanted to put this up. I'm probably gonna take it down in like 2 hours, but I wanted to, show like there's always an excuse but a but. But their biggest gripe is they just don't have as many likes or followers or get as much attention from their photos, so they have to knock everybody down. So it's
You know,
like they might have a legit job and everything else. Meanwhile, they'll put bikini tops on, they'll do this, they'll sexy pictures, but nobody cares as
yeah.
opposed to them. So that's their biggest gripe. But it really
I,
annoys
I
me when people do
I
that.
like the ones, Zach, you'll love this. I like the ones who you got the girl, right? Hair extensions, tons of makeup, filler in her cheeks, filler in her
Yeah.
lips, Botox, boobs, chin implant, and then underneath the caption, I hate fake people.
Yeah, I told you that story. The woman in the gym was telling this guy, "Don't stay natural. Don't do a men's physique show. Be natural like me." I looked at her, I'm like you just said, fake eyelashes, fake boobs, fake lips, filler, Botox, and
Eyebrows tattooed on. I mean, yeah.
whatever else. It's like let the guy live, man. Let him do what he's got to do. I mean, I hate that. Like that's when we come on the show and I make a joke of what's that. I'm like, yeah, Frank said be lifetime natty. Like, come on, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, you know, like come on, like I just don't like when people like, well, bodybuilders are this. I never ever put down bodybuilders or put down anybody getting into a show or doing this. It's just like I just despise when people do that to other people just because they're not getting as much attention is the problem.
Right,
Right.
but
Yeah.
also if you're asked an opinion, both of you guys have the chops and the understanding to be honest with your assessments. So that's different. That's not being a hater. Being a hater is something where it's like no matter what, you're
Yeah,
going to find the negative, right? So
Right.
like when somebody asks your opinion or for you to sit there and pick apart something, that's ultimately
it's
what
different.
yeah, that's also what a competitor is up there for, right? For at least judging purposes. And when they put themselves out there, other commentators and pundits are going to have their say. It's
Mhm.
just part of the game. I mean, you got to be
Yep.
Fair
ready
game.
for
You
it.
step under those lights, it's fair game. There's
Yeah,
no
Yep.
control over anything.
which is why I would never do it. I mean, like, I've, I've had enough
You know,
rejection in my life that I've learned how to deal with it that way. I don't need to go.
this is another one of the pet peeves. Look, if anybody writes on their Instagram, I'm just doing this show for fun. Go to the movies.
Mhm.
Go kayaking if you want to do something for
Oh
fun.
man.
I don't care how I place. Then you shouldn't even compete. You
Mm-mm.
shouldn't even like, oh, I'm just doing it for fun. It's not fun. You know what I'm
Dieting for
saying?
if you consider dieting for a bodybuilding contest fun,
Fun?
you have a fucked up life. Is
Yeah.
all I can tell you.
If
Is
you're
that you
doing it
are
the
you
right
are you are
way,
living in a
it
fucking
ain't
gulag.
no, the right way is just suffering.
Yep.
It's not fun. Look, the result is amazing. Like, the end result. Look
Sure.
at what I look like. This is great. But I could find probably on a list way at the
Yeah.
bottom of fun, you know? Like,
I,
come
and
on,
and it's
man.
and it's and it's the ones that really kill you are like the girl who lost 150 pounds. Okay, now she's
Mhm.
in a bikini contest. She's got
Yeah.
4 acres of spare skin flopping around, her midsection, and she's on stage in a bikini. I go, what are you doing there? You have just denigrated all of that great effort and result by trying to show off something you shouldn't be showing off. Now, I understand you are happy that you lost weight and you're really proud of your accomplishment, everything, but a bodybuilding contest is not the place to show that off because you look like shit. You don't look like shit to the person who saw
Well,
you lose 150 pounds, but in a bikini with 4 acres of spare skin flopping in the breeze, you don't look good. It's the same with the guy. The guy, I just wanted to compete to see if I could do it. You don't
you can't
enter
even
a
say it.
Formula One race to see if you can parallel park.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's like you got to win. You got to enter a contest to win. If you don't do that, you're wasting everybody else's time.
Now, are
Plus,
you
why would you
body
want to?
shame? Are you body shaming that person? Now,
Yes.
because or are you stating the obvious? Because it is a competition, and you're
Mhm.
commenting on the physique in the competition. Now, bodybuilding bikini, There's no backstory. You don't know anybody's story. You're basically giving your opinion of their physique,
Right.
not knowing that they were 400 pounds and now they're successfully lost weight. You don't have that backstory. As a judge, you know what condition they're stepping on stage. But people are gonna say, are you body shaming them or are you legitimately judging them? That's the question.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing and it's a slippery slope because you do want to laud their effort, you do want to laud their
Yes.
accomplishment, and it's a great thing. That's healthy. It's good. There's nothing but positive about it. But
Yes.
there, it's like, you get into a car wreck, okay, and you come out of it, you heal, you get out of it, but you get scars all over the place. You're not gonna like start trying to get a movie role or enter a beauty contest. I mean, it's like there's certain things that limit you by virtue of what it took to get there. So losing all that weight, great. I'm so glad you did it. But to put what's left of you on stage next to people who never had that issue, who are serious competitors, you're going to get shamed no matter what because you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
Well, it's also
My
what we talked about, John, at one point was there's a major difference between a competitor's body and a pool or beach body, something like that, right? You can get
Oh
away
yeah.
with a
Yeah.
lot
Oh,
more,
yeah.
but when you're going to be compared to folks that are dialed in and really going for it, listen, you also have to be ready for, for people to be brutally honest. It's their jobs in the line too. Their job is to evaluate. It's not to make everybody feel good and give everybody a trophy. You step up there, you're putting yourself out there, and you have to be ready for it to go either way. And that's men or women.
And
Yeah.
the thing of it is,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Frankie, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Good.
I'm saying the thing of it is when you compete, the level of difficulty and suffering and all the negative shit that gets balled up into that whole thing through the weeks and weeks and weeks that you've gotten ready for the show, that now you're finally there. Now you got to share the stage with 5 people who are totally wasting your time because they have no business being up there. They just competed to see if they could do it. I just want to have some fun. I just want to show off my new body from losing all that weight. Blah 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 blah. You, to the real competitor, that's an assault. That's like you're multiply that one person by 4 or 5, and that's how many people you got to sit through when they do their routine, or they got to do their comparisons, or they got to get called out, and it's just making you have to draw this thing out longer than you have to because you got to wait on them, and they have no business being there, none whatsoever.
No. Friend of mine tore his bicep, right? Now he's a really good competitor. Shredded abs, this and that. And his arm is 20% smaller than the other arm. And it looked
Oh,
deformed. And he's like,
jeez.
I'm gonna compete. I said, don't bother. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you pretty much won every show you went into, right? He goes, yeah. I go, you're not gonna win. He goes, why do you say that? I go, your arm is distinctively horrible right now. I'm just being honest with you. It looks horrible. You're not going to win any sort of shot. Everyone's not going to be looking at your abs. They're going to look at your deformed bicep and mark you down. It's too
Yep.
noticeable. It's not so
Yep.
small. It's halfway up your arm, and you're missing it. A back double bicep, a back double bicep, a front double bicep. Every you're going to lose. So why would you do it? Well, I just want to have fun and get up. Go do something else. Go have fun. I'm like,
Right.
you are used to winning. So actually, fast forward a couple of years later, men's physique came aboard. Now the way his arm was, uh, got a little bit better, moved it down, whatever, through surgeries and stuff. Lost weight, and he became decent men's physique competitor because you don't have to do a double bicep. You can kind of hide it because you're only
Right.
doing the front and back shot. But as a bodybuilder, where it's the mandatory poses and you have one deformed arm, you're going in with a 20% deficit to begin with. Why would you do that if you're going to win? You
I'm,
can't.
Exactly.
I'm going to bite on this question for Frank. It's from Scatman. I know Romano has seen it tons of times, but what does Frank rate Big Lenny's posing at the Ruby Classic 2017? I don't know what that is.
I don't know who that is.
I don't think
Okay.
Frank knows who Big Lenny is.
Okay. Sorry. I thought that was something that people knew or something. I didn't know what it was. So I tried.
I know Jimmy the Bull. I know
Yeah.
Jimmy the Bull.
There you
I
go.
I
But
know
we've
Lee
gone for
Priest.
hour and a half. So that was solid.
Wow.
Let's wrap it up. And what we'll do is we're going to come back Thursday and Frank's hooking it up with Jacqueline Baker for us, right?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome.
Arnold,
So
UK fitness winner.
Wow.
Second in what? Fourth place at the Olympia, I think.
I have to look. I'm bad with statistics.
Me too.
I mean, you could ask me like, "Well, how are the Mets doing?" I'm like, I don't know. In '86, they did pretty well, I think. But I don't know about now.
They won over there.
I don't know about today.
Man.
But yeah,
Don't
that was
ever
cool.
ask me about sports.
No, not team sports.
Nope.
John hates the team
None.
sports.
Zero.
That's all I do. That's all I have in the background is sports. So I know everything,
Really?
especially NFL, like baseball, basketball, everything. Yeah.
Man,
I'm just like,
even when I worked for MLB, I didn't know the standings. I was just so not into it. I'm like, ugh, I just can't. Like, there's so many
I'm
things
like
happening.
I'm like an anomaly. I don't watch football, baseball, basketball, hockey, none of that shit.
you're like my
Zero.
brother. My
None.
brother hates sports too.
See, I like football. I like to watch football.
I like singular sports, motorcycle racing,
Well,
We gotta go
boxing,
with Jet Game.
MMA.
listen, I'll go. Listen, Frank and I are actually going to start our own. Well, we're going to start to take over pickleball, pro pickleball. Frank and I have clearly shown that we can do it.
Hell
We
yeah.
dominate. 1 point.
I think we can. We're gonna PED ourselves up, and figure we'll get everything. Blood
I
doping.
want to know the PED protocol for
Yeah,
pickleball.
we're gonna do some blood doping. Like we're getting ready for the Tour de France. We're gonna do some blood doping.
It's
Yeah.
all
Everything else.
forearms.
We're
And I'm
Clean out those platelets.
They're like, wow, those guys, man, they have energy for days. How much cardio do you do? None.
zero. Nothing.
I believe if we practice regularly, that we'd be in the top 100 of any tournament.
I would listen. I would if there really is going to be like a competition at Olympia. I don't know if they're actually doing that. We should, even though we probably won't practice, we should just
Definitely
go for it. Just show up and just go for it. I mean, I think listen, I don't know. I feel like we could get past the
scored.
first round. I feel like we
Hell
could.
yeah. We scored against John McEnroe and Drew Brees.
That's right. See,
But
we can do
but
it.
I think you need to turn it into like a radical form of pickleball. It's like change the paddle, to something like super huge and heavy.
No,
You got to wear armor because the ball's metal and it's got spikes on it. And you got to have a shield and protection and tons of drugs, lots of drugs.
We'll come out in boat neck dressed like the 80s with our traps hanging out like the Barbarian Brothers.
Yes, exactly. We're gonna bring personality to this thing. You're right. Like Legion of Doom, they used to wear those like spiked helmets and
Yeah.
shit. That's gonna be us on the pickleball court.
They'll
Oh,
know
with
they'll know
face.
we were there. They will
Uh-huh.
know. Our presence will be known.
Yes.
I'm gonna get down to 215 for this. When is it? Oh, the Olympia. Okay, I'm getting pickleball shape.
Yep, exactly. So keep your eyes peeled because there's going to be a new duo taking over the pro pickleball scene. Hell yeah, it's over. You
Yep.
just won, as far as I'm
And when
concerned.
they ask why isn't anything up on our social challenge, I'm like, sorry guys, they made it to the third round.
It's like, yeah, come on. I mean, you're not watching. You're not watching
winner
extreme
get-
pickleball.
The winner gets an Arby's gift card.
Sweet. Oh, we really need that. But, all right. So,
Who has ever gotten an Arby's gift card?
I don't know.
First,
Yeah.
first guy.
I don't even have them.
We'll find one.
Yeah. Oh man, Romano. Okay, they said Romano should do the desk race with me. I don't know if he'll want to do that. Romano
Do it
doesn't
on
seem
the
like.
dirt
Come.
bike, I'll do it.
I wish he would come though. I mean, look, having people there would be
I told
awesome.
you I'm coming. I said I'm coming.
Listen, let's get all right. I'm gonna iron this out. My goal is to have this ironed out by the end of the week in terms of just a loose plan to put together, and then I want to make sure that it's cool with you guys. But yeah, I want to make sure that we're feeling good about it because I feel like shit going into it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit terrified. just because I'm like, God, again, I'm now on month 1.5 of TRT. So I'm starting to feel some differences. I do feel better, but gosh, I tell you what, this time last year, I was more in hitting my stride, and now I'm still feeling like I'm just getting to feeling better. So whatever. Look, I've gotten my ass kicked before, and I can do it again, and I'll try to do it with a smile. You know?
Hey, Zach,
Like,
have fun.
yeah, I'm going to. I'm gonna have fun.
Yeah, Zach's just doing it for fun.
Yeah,
Cat
exactly.
race.
To see
Have
if he
fun.
can do it.
I'm going to do it to get through it, but I am like, that is the key though, to keep telling myself I'm having fun, even when I want to throw up or quit or all that stuff. It's like, no, this is fun. I gotta
Look,
do it.
John and I will stand there with mics. We'll get a camera guy. We'll do a whole commentary on this thing. But
It'll
you
be
know what I
great.
mean? It'll be hysterical. I think
Oh,
it'll
it'd
be
be
awesome.
awesome.
I'm looking. You got to give me the exact date so I can book it out.
Do we
Okay,
need satellite phones? Do we need satellite phones? Because we're gonna be in the woods.
well,
No,
yeah,
let me tell you
this
something about Vermont.
pretty
okay?
spotty.
You need
Oh.
bug repellent, lots of it, copious amounts of bug spray. You got to dip yourself in it.
We're wearing beekeeper outfits, John. You and I both.
You know what? That's about what you need. Air traffic control in Vermont for the fucking bugs.
It's also cold too, man. That's the mistake I made the first year when I showed up in shorts and a cotton shirt. And Joe, the guy who runs it, goes, "Is that cotton?" I go, "Yeah," and he goes, "Oh." I go, "What?" I was like, "It's comfortable. It feels good." He was like, "Give it 3 hours," and I sweated through it within the first 20 minutes. And I was cold all night.
Is it gonna be cold? It's gonna be cold when we go.
Yeah, it's in the mountains, man. It gets chilly at night.
Right. Wait, what month?
July, end of June. So it's the 28th, I think it starts, and then it goes. They don't tell you when it ends, but it usually is like the 28th up until like the 3rd. But you never know.
Weeks. That's in a few weeks.
Yep. Thanks for reminding me. I got a month. It's a month, so I'm gonna make sure that
you better hit your stride.
Trying. I'm still training hard. I'm still doing it, but I just, again, it's a feeling like I'm not. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm still pushing. Yeah, I'm pushing myself. It's more endurance. I'm starting to do more repetitive and even more bodyweight stuff by just adding things like we talked. Like I got a new another plate for my rucksack because doing 60 pounds, honestly, it was killing me at times. So I'm like, okay, sometimes I just got to go a little lighter. Maybe I'll go 35 pounds total instead of 60. And then I'm switching out rec bags, and I'm sprinting more. I'm just trying to be on my feet more, make it. I got some new wrist and ankle weights that I'm wearing, as well as my rucksack. And I'm still doing all my other lifts, but I don't know. As I said, my wife saw me yesterday. I trained for about 2 hours yesterday. And she was just like, "How you feeling?" And I'm just like, I don't know. Like I gotta snap out of it, and that switch has to flip, or else, I don't want to show up there and be, feeling antsy. I want to be there like, okay, let's fucking go. Let's do this. Like, let's rock.
One of the side effects of TRT, a couple of people, such as yourself, not bodybuilders, but just normal peeps, has been being sluggish and getting bloated from the testosterone, especially from sippinate. Yeah, it starts weighing you down. So actually, I was just talking to this woman who is on TRT right now. She's on testosterone, and I told her to at night to sip on dandelion tea, and she's been dandelion tea. She's like, wow. She's like, I'm peeing, lost all this bloat, this water. That's it's one of the many, 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 many natural things that you can do, but it could be from that, right, John? Could be from that.
I would agree with that. This from the added, the added water also makes your heart work harder. There's a whole, systemic involvement with the added fluid, and it just takes your body a while to get used to it. But the dandelion tea, uva ursi, is also very good as a natural diuretic.
Cider vinegar.
Caffeine, things with caffeine in them. So, try to like dissipate some of that fluid, and you'll feel instantly better.
Okay.
Take some B6. That's
definitely. B6.
So B6.
You know,
All right. So
also
dandelion
too,
tea, B. Okay. Can you guys can you help me then? Because I'm curious. So because I have been feeling that.
asparagus.
I've been feeling bloated. Well, no, they make my pee smell. I can't do that. Plus, I hate asparagus.
You know, there's a
Um,
gene, a specific gene that allows you to smell the asparagus pea, and if you don't have that gene, you can't smell it. I don't
I
have
got,
that gene. I
I
can't.
got it. I got. I
I don't
certainly
have
got
it.
it.
I cannot smell asparagus
I got
pea.
it. I could
Oh
go
wow,
into a urinal at a ballpark and be like, that guy right
yeah,
there. He's the asparagus eater.
how much asparagus? I eat like when I was getting ready for stuff like 1 to 2 pounds a day of asparagus.
Wow.
Ooh,
So yeah, you can light it up, man, in the
wow,
bathroom.
So,
that's hardcore.
all right. So let
So
me ask. So,
potent.
Super
okay,
hardcore.
B6. You said dandelion because I'm trying to actually figure this out because I've noticed for sure. I've noticed some bloat. Absolutely. Even though it's weird because I'm running between 2 and 5 miles a day on top of every other steps and all the training and stuff like that. So I'm like, I shouldn't be this bloated because I'm actually getting rid of so much, and I certainly, definitely, I feel it. So the B6, dandelion tea, anything else, and I'm gonna follow this
Uva
shit
ursi.
Person.
And how much water are you drinking?
a lot. I don't even know. I mean, I fill these up consistently,
All right,
five,
all
six
right.
times. Like I'm constantly drinking. These are about 20 ounces, and I'm going through at least 6 to 7.
Okay,
When I'm
good.
training and when I'm running too, I'm just constantly downing it because dehydration is what screwed me in the past. So I want to start to get, and I want to start to take some of those hydrations, like those supplement, the pills that like the marathoners take. And I want to
Uh-huh.
see how it affects my stomach because I know that some people that take them, they end up taking way more magnesium and then they shit themselves, and
Dude,
it's uncomfortable. So
pickle juice. Pickle juice is
yes,
good, but
yeah,
honestly, you know what? Because you're vegan or you mostly eat plant, you got to look at your sodium content
Yeah.
that you're eating on a daily basis. Because if you switch protein, plant protein shit, you can go from like 90 to 500 milligrams of sodium per scoop on some of those. So
Yep.
when you're on testosterone, you're gonna obviously hold on to a lot of that fluids, especially if if you know you don't think what I didn't know this had 500. You're doing 2 shakes a day or 3 shakes. You're taking in 1,500 additional milligrams of sodium.
Yeah.
But people think, well, vegan or being just eating plant like it equates to getting shredded, but no, because I know this person who eats vegan muffins all the time. They're loaded with carbs,
yeah.
sodium, and everything else. Where they're like, "Oh, I'm eating this vegan pasta," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, look, why don't you just put a salt shaker in your mouth?
Yep.
Like it has like 7,000 milligrams of sodium." So I would check my sodium content
Mhm.
of what you're
No,
doing. Maybe
okay, no,
reduce that.
I would also go off your testosterone, and if you're taking growth hormone too, I would like 2 weeks out.
okay, that's an interesting point. So on my like the peptide side of things, I'm 3 weeks on, 1 week off. With testosterone, they said to keep taking it until I go back and to get blood work done. But you think I'd be all right to not take it, like for when okay, that's interesting. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, because I mean because you'll lose the water. I mean, for sure in 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
even for bodybuilding contests, I take everybody off their drugs 2-3 weeks before the contest.
Protein
Especially
shakes
test and
too.
growth hormone.
that's
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yep. Yep.
you eat
Yep.
straight food too the last 2 weeks. You're just
Yep.
eating fish and whatever else you're
Plain
eating. You're not
water.
eating protein
Yep.
shakes. Yeah, you're not. But Zach, what peptide are we talking about?
Ah, shoot, the T500 or something like that. Like this is gonna be sound. So I meant to actually look. I looked at it the other day and I wrote it down and then I forgot it inside. So it's fuck, dude. I don't even know. I'm gonna have to
Is it
look it up
growth
again.
hormone releaser? Is it growth
Yes,
hormone release?
yeah, it's
Okay.
one of those because that was the two
So
things that they said
Pray
that
to
were
God.
pretty
I'd
pretty
quit taking
dire.
that too 2 weeks out.
Okay,
some of those too are
yeah,
water retentive.
there we go. Thank you, TB500. Thank you very much. That's it right there.
Yeah.
TB500.
Cool.
And look, as I said, I'm a month and change in on TRT. I'm only 2 weeks in on the peptides, but again, feeling a major difference has been good. But because I'm going, and I would have more patience if I weren't going into this event. Like this is kind of important for me not to feel iffy or out of sorts when I'm heading into this. So that's why I'm trying to iron this stuff out. And This stuff alone is
You'll
gonna
notice a huge difference going off because that water will come flowing out.
Yeah,
oh, geez, interesting.
100%.
Yeah,
You drop an easy 5 pounds.
easy.
Nice. All right, see that? Look at that. Could
Well, why don't you go in a sauna? Stay out of the friggin' cold tub. Go in a sauna.
I got a sauna actually. I got to set it up. Somebody sent it to
Let's
me
set
to
it up.
test, and I still have to set it. It's called the Sauna Box. I don't really know what it is, but I should set it up because I did the cold tub yesterday for it was at 50 degrees. Even though last year I was doing 46 at this time, 46 degrees for about 4 to 6 minutes. I got 3 minutes in yesterday and I lost my shit. I was just like, fuck it, I gotta get out of here. Like I was so angry. I just got out and was so just irritated. It was burning my hands, burning my feet, and I just was so unhappy that I had to get out.
There was
My
98
wife,
degrees out. It's 98 degrees out. I'm still not going into a pool unless it's heated. And if I
yeah.
was president, I'd find a way to heat the ocean so that I can go in it during the summer.
I'm with you, Frankie.
Oh,
My
no.
my wife's got the cold plunge set at 47. All right, and now she gets in it as soon as she wakes up. Before she was doing it after the gym, so she was like, warm. Now she gets out of bed. Can you imagine thinking about this? Out of bed and into 47-degree water within like 5 minutes. And she
I gotta start doing that, man.
Stays in there for 5 minutes. So
I gotta start doing that. I got it.
Well, the reason she's doing it is because she read this article that says 90% of the thermogenic effect of the cold plunge is mitigated by taking a hot shower immediately afterwards.
Yep.
So you got to stay cold, otherwise you're not going to get that, response. So wake up in the morning, jump in the cold plunge, and then don't take a hot shower.
What's the statistic on actually getting clean in the shower when you take a cold shower as opposed to taking a hot shower?
I don't know because I don't take cold showers.
Proper time to lather up and clean every orifice of your body.
Get all the crevices. Yeah, get in there. Yeah.
That's why those people stink.
You found it. They're all cold plunges.
They're all cold showers.
You're on to something. You're right.
That's great. But Frank did agree to go in. He did agree. He told Dr. Jonathan Lear, the guy who runs Remedy Plate, said, you're going in. And Frank was like, all right. And I was like, oh, man, is he serious? And he was like, yeah, I'll do
6 minutes?
Fuck, man. I walk past that thing every day walking out to my shop. Every day I walk past that thing. It's humming away. And I see that number 47 on the thing. I'm going, that's fucking nuts. And I say it every time. It's like I will never go near that thing.
What's the he said 6 minutes in the cold tub. Now, I'm just throwing this out there hypothetically. What if I took some gummies and then I decided to go in? I'll be cruising in there for 20 minutes. And
that would be the worst thing you could ever do. Then you can start imagining you're frozen in a fucking iceberg somewhere, and you're gonna. You're up
what am I, Walt Disney?
Stop breathing soon. First thing you're gonna think about is, where are my balls? They're gone.
Yeah. I feel it immediately. It go in my chest. In my hand,
great.
Like I just get absolutely like as tight as possible, and then once that subsides a little bit, that's when I start being like, okay, I think my balls are gone. I'm not sure if my feet are still attached.
It's funny. Valerie says the same thing. Her hands and her feet burn. That's the worst part. Yeah,
it is.
When I did the bilateral knee surgery, I went into the cryo tank every single day. It's 2-3 minutes. You wear the gloves and then they cover your nipples with something, or and you wear underwear. That's it. And you go in and you're there. You have to do it for 3 minutes. And I was fine. But instead of sitting there with ice bags on my knees and stuff, I went in there every day for like 2 weeks after surgery to bring down the inflammation. Did it work? I have no idea. But I just think it's stupid.
I get it, man. I get it.
I'm with Frankie.
I get it, and I totally understand it. And I can't say that I would be doing this as often if I didn't know that I was going to be going into the Tweed River in Vermont, which is probably 50 degrees ish, and then there's the other Beaver Pond that is even colder. So I'm gonna have to go in there. So I got to get ready.
Now, is that
Exactly.
the kind of water that you can't pee in, because if you do pee, those microbes are going to swim up into
Ah!
your urethra and
I don't
live
know.
in your kidneys?
I've certainly peed in the river. The pond, no, because to me, when I'm stepping in it, it's like I could feel my feet sinking into the dirt, and it's really uncomfortable. But yeah, I mean, I peed in the river, and I didn't have any like serpents or anything coming out of my pee hole, so that was good.
You know, what these people with the look, if there's these, I can't stand watching these videos on social media of people getting into the cold tub like it's like they're climbing Mount Everest. You know, like it's the same accomplishment. Great, you're sitting in a pool of cold water. You know, we did that in the 70s, you know, when we didn't have hot water in Queens. Like, okay, great. You know, I get it. It's for inflammation and everything. But it's not, you're not climbing Mount Everest. You're not, you know, you're not winning the Olympics. You're sitting
Yeah,
in cold water. Calm down.
yeah.
Like, you know, like it's like,
It's also that.
wow, amazing. You're sitting in cold water. How do
Yeah.
you do it? You know, like,
Wow. You got a whole
wow, you just
tear
look
infection.
yeah, if you were drunk off your ass and threw a bullseye with a dart, I'd be more impressed, you know, into a dartboard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, wow, going into cold water. What are you gonna do next? Eat a sandwich? Like, who cares? Like,
No,
go.
I agree, man. Listen, I'm also not somebody I never think anybody wants to see what I'm doing. And I feel like I should probably do more because Frank is always telling me to post and he's
Yeah.
helping me out. But it's like, I do the same thing. Like when I'm doing that, I'm like, I'm sitting in water. It's a tub of water. Who gives a shit? Like nobody cares
Nope.
looking at me in this thing. So,
And it's 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is. It's like this
Yeah.
minuscule amount of time.
yeah,
You know,
it's boring
it's
too,
not
to
like
watch
you're
me.
laboring all day to, you know, create this thing, you know.
No.
It's
Like
I'm
your
sitting in
plane
cold water for
crashed in
5
the
minutes.
woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It-
Which when you think about it, you say, well, it's no big deal. Why don't I do it? Because it's fucking nuts. That's why.
Because I don't want to. How about that? I'm not gonna be
Exactly.
peer
'Cause I don't
pressured.
wanna.
Look,
yeah.
it's like the same guy who swallows a sword. Yeah, great. Do I want to do it? No. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have our choices. Well, if it's so stupid, then why don't you do it? Exactly. You just said
Exactly.
it. Because
Yeah.
it's so stupid.
I'm sure it tastes amazing. I'm sure the sword is delicious,
Yeah,
but
Look,
I'll
it's
pass.
good.
I will. If he wants me to go try it, I'll do it. But there's no way I'll do it. I'm not getting out. I'll get in
No,
there
no,
for
I
6 minutes. But
know.
I don't know if I want to do it because my luck, I'll make millions of dollars on these treats, right? I'll go in and I'll go into anaphylactic shock or something and have a massive heart
Yep.
attack.
And then that's it.
So I'm
Yep.
like, why even bother?
Although we could do a skit, we'd be like, "Get him a treat," and then we give you the protein treat and revive you. Like,
Yeah, right. Yeah, you know what? You'll have to prop me up like Weekend at Bernie's for this show because he's dead. He's dead.
that's how Frank will be making decisions. Like, we'll be like puppeteers behind him. Like, no, so.
Yeah, that's a stare. Wow, we almost went to 12 o'clock. Jeez.
I know. And you got, okay, I'll tell him Brian Lee is a big fan of both of yours. He just wanted to tell you guys
Brian.
that. So he's,
Thanks, Brian.
he wanted to tell
What's up,
both you guys that
Brian?
he's a fan. Cool. So thanks, Brian. Hey, listen, we're going to cut it off here at 2-hour mark. We got rolling. Thanks for everybody. That was cool. Sometimes time flies. Who even knew?
Yep. Who knew?
Awesome. We'll be
So
on
we'll be back
Thursday. Jack
Thursday.
and Baker.
Yes,
Yeah, I
sir.
gotta
All right,
see.
everybody. Thank you guys. That was awesome. Thanks, Frank. Thanks, John. And
Thanks, John.
we'll see you later.
Thanks, Zach.